Whiskey-Brined Blackberry Crown Turkey on Smoking and Drinking. Hey, welcome back to Smoking and Drinking. I'm Mike, and happy Thanksgiving. You may have noticed I've been away for a little bit. I haven't posted for a little while. Take a little hiatus, kind of recenter. I'm still working a full-time job. I'll be retiring here soon, and then this will be my full-time job. But it's actually a full-time job already, and that's why I had to step back for a minute. But we're going to do a Thanksgiving turkey. We're going to smoke a turkey. We've done them before, but this one's going to be a little different. And let's get started. Okay, first thing we need to do is brine this bird. I've put the turkey, I've taken all of the jiggle bits out of it and the neck and put it in our pot. And this is a 16-quart pot, I believe. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of ingredients that are going into the brine, most primarily salt. And it's a cup and a half of salt. You might be thinking that's a lot of salt, but that's basically the definition of a brine. It's a salt water solution, but we're going to add some different things into it. This is the primary way of seasoning the bird. You soak it in there, and all of the seasonings and the salt and everything soaks into the turkey. This is going to be a Whiskey-Brined Blackberry Crown Turkey. Blackberry Crown. Crown Royal is a favorite of mine. Blackberry especially. This is a somewhat, it was very hard to get. It's becoming more popular now, but it makes a great cocktail. We'll have to try that here in a little while, but still a little early for cocktails. But we're going to get this started. We're going to brine it for about 6 to 8 hours. But let's get started getting all our ingredients together and getting it into the pot. It's a lot of ingredients, yeah, I know. But boy, I tell you, I've made this several times, and it really adds a lot of pop to your turkey. So let's get started throwing these in. It calls for a gallon of water. I always start with half a gallon, 8 cups. Don't know how full this is going to get, so always start off a little with half a gallon. We're going to have a lot of other liquids in there. We'll probably end up adding the other half, almost always do. But there's the water. And then we have a 1/4 cup of Who's Your Sister sauce, Worcestershire, Who's Your Sister. And we have a 1/4 cup of liquid smoke. Now I know what you're going to say. You're cheating. I thought you were smoking this on the smoker. We are. Just giving it a little head start. A little extra liquid smoke in there kind of soaks inside from the inside out, so to speak. So 1/4 cup of liquid smoke. And then we have, calls for 2 cans of Dr. Pepper. I had this. We don't drink a lot of Dr. Pepper, so it's a little more than 2 cans, but that's okay. We're just going to add the whole thing in there, and as long as it doesn't overflow on me. There we go. This is why I only put half the water in, because we're adding a lot of other liquids that bring that volume up, so we don't want to overflow our bucket here. So we have some other wet ingredients. I'm going to hold on to those so that we can kind of wash. I don't want everything sitting on the top of the bird. But let's move to our dry ingredients. I have the peel of 1 orange. Citrus is always good to help add a little bit of that a little citrus flavor, I guess, and it helps break down the fibers a little bit of the bird, make it a little more tender. 1 whole onion chopped. These are just big chunks. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be finely chopped or anything. 3 celery stalks. 6 cloves of garlic. You can press them if you want. I just throw them in there whole. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. That's a half a cup. About a tablespoon of black peppercorns. Calls for a tablespoon of allspice berries. You want to be a little careful with allspice berries. A few berries goes a long way. I've got about a dozen or so allspice berries in there. Rosemary, we have 1 tablespoon of rosemary, and then a tablespoon of thyme. Always got to make time for thyme. Sorry, dad joke. Didn't add our primary ingredient. We've got 1.5 cups of, I'm using sea salt. You can use kosher salt. Either way, a lot of salt. Okay. Then we're going to add our wet ingredients in here. 1 can of beer. Yeah, I'm using my, it's not expensive beer, but I don't drink a lot of beer unless I make my own. But Michelob Ultra, it's a little more expensive at the grocery store. Calls for 4 cups, of apple juice. Apple goes great with poultry. So here, this is right about there is 4 cups, half a jug if you're doing a 2-quart jug. Yep, our liquid volume is already coming up close to the top of the bird. We'll have to add a little water. And then, of course, our Crown Royal. 2 cups of Blackberry Crown Royal. Actually, it's a cup and a half. I just can't. It's expensive. I don't like to I'm not throwing it away. I'm not wasting it. This adds a wonderful flavor to the bird. But, yeah, it's just kind of hard to put 2 cups in there. But, oh, forgot our little bay leaves. Oops, 2 bay leaves. Got to get it in the pot, Mike. All right. And then we're going to need a little more water. You want to make sure your turkey is completely submerged in the liquid. So I'll probably need another 2 cups or 2 quarts. 2 more quarts. I think it's probably going to take all of that. Like I said, you just want to make sure your turkey is completely immersed in the liquid. Look at that. Almost perfect. Let's see if we can. Yeah, that bird is on the bottom. I'm going to need just a little bit more even. No sense trying to stir it. Too much bird in the way. Let's get a little more water. Let's see. This is another quart. That ought to do. That brings it right up to the top. Yep, that'll settle in. Perfect. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is cover this and put it in my refrigerator. I have another refrigerator downstairs that I've made. It's big enough to put large pots, 1 gallon fermenting vessels in for making my wine and things like that if I want to cold crash the wine. But you can set it outside if it's cold enough, if you don't have room in your refrigerator. It's about 40 degrees here right now. I could set it outside. Make sure you want to put something heavy on top, or if you have a locking lid, you don't want the critters getting into it, cats or dogs or bumpuses or squirrels. All right, we're going to get that in the fridge. We're going to let that soak in the brine for about 8 hours, and then we'll be back to get it ready for the smoker. Oh, I forgot to mention, just in case you're wondering, it is a 14-pound bird that I'm using, a 14-pound turkey. I bought it at the grocery store, frozen, of course. Had to thaw it out, put it in the refrigerator for about 3 days just to thaw it out. So just wanted to let you know. Okay, we've had our turkey in the brine in the refrigerator for 6 hours, and we've got our smoker preheating to 225, and we're using cherry pellets with just a little bit of hickory mixed in there. And we're going to make a glaze to go with it, a Blackberry Crown glaze, but that'll be just a minute here. Let's get the turkey out. Oh, I always love that smell. That fresh fall seasoning smell. I love it with the sage and the thyme and everything. A little bit of citrus smell from the orange. Wow, that is delicious. Okay, let's get this out without getting everything everywhere. I got a pan under a metal grate here so that I don't make a huge mess all over the table. There we go. So then, what we want to do is try and pat it dry a little bit. Get some of this moisture off. Helps make the skin a little crispier, I think, if you get rid of some of that water. Just take paper towels, kind of blot it dry. It doesn't have to be perfectly dry. We're going to put some olive oil on there to help. We have a seasoning we're going to add to it. I'm saying, Mike, you've already seasoned it in the brine, and you're right. But I'm going to add a little bit of rub to it just to help season it a little more. Okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly dry. All right. Then, what we're going to do, spin this baby around, we're going to take some of the solids, the orange peels, the onions, the celery, and we're going to stuff it into the cavity of the turkey, and that will continue to season it while it smokes. So you could also, if you're one of those people that likes to make your stuffing inside of the bird, do that. You could even take some of these vegetables and put them in to your stuffing. Some people, so I mentioned earlier that I took all the jiggly bits out, the giblets, and I usually just throw those away, or I'll save them and use them when I am use them to make a roux or a broth. But some people take the giblets and make them in their stuffing. You know, I'm kind of a simple, I have some simple tastes sometimes. I like the stovetop stuffing. A couple little feathers that survived, or the quills from the feathers. Interesting. Just pluck them out. There we go. All right. And then the skin from the neck, I just tuck that into that cavity, or cut it off. I might just cut it off because it'll end up burning if it won't stay in there. Well, it might stay in there. Okay, can't get it all in there, but you can get quite a few in there. Helps season the bird. All right, and then what I like to do, since the wings will probably just burn anyway, I usually just tuck them underneath. You can still use the meat. The tips of the wings, there's not a lot of meat on those anyway. I don't generally eat those, but yeah, I think we're going to cut this skin off of the neck because it's just going to flap around and burn anyway. So I'm just going to cut that right off. Not a problem. Okay, and then the legs. Before I do that, I want to oil and season this bird up. I have a rub that I have made. I call it cockadoodle dust poultry rub. I use that for chicken and turkey. I like to use that. So I'm going to just rub the turkey with a little bit of olive oil. That'll help the cock-a-doodle do rub hold to the bird. Doesn't take much. Whoa. Let's get it all nice and oiled up. Do this every time. I use both hands and then I can't. I'm a little paranoid about poultry and salmonella, things like that. So I'll just clean this container real good after I'm done. Oh, fresh new batch here. Yep, gonna have to clean this up really well, but that's okay. Just gonna sprinkle liberally our cock-a-doodle do rub. Pat it in a little bit. Get it evenly all over the bird. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I take so when you buy these at the store, the legs are bound together and the skin from the tail, they leave it attached, and you flip that up over the end bones, the leg bones. That kind of holds those legs together so they're not flopping all out all over. Mostly that has to do with presentation. I always say, eat with your eyes, and I want to have it looking nice and pretty. So tuck the legs in, holds them together, tuck the wings underneath. I should have taken those off. Oh well. Okay, we're ready to get this out to the smoker. Like I said, we've got it smoking at 225. We'll probably let that go until when the internal temperature, when the breast gets up to 165 and the thighs are about 175, we're going to put some of our glaze on, and of course we'll make that here in a minute, but let's get this out to the smoker. The weather has kind of turned a little dreary on me. It is starting to rain, but that's okay. Leave this on the wire grate. Take our probes, one in the breast and one in the thigh. Okay, while we have the turkey smoking, we are going to make our Blackberry Crown glaze, Blackberry whiskey glaze. And what we need is, I'm going to start with 1 cup of Blackberry Crown. I'll use this. Let's use this. One cup of Blackberry Crown. That's going to just about polish off my crown. I'm going to have to make a run to the store. Okay, we've got our 1 cup of Blackberry Crown. Boy, that smells good. Nice and fruity. Blackberry Crown in the glaze and in the brine kind of adds that fruity flavor along with the cherry pellets. So gives it a little bit of that sweet fruity flavor. But let's see, we also need half a cup of blackberry jam. Smucker's blackberry jam. Half a cup. I have to try this on my toast in the morning. Never had blackberry jam on my toast. Let's see, about half a cup here. Pretty close. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. Half a cup of blackberry jam. And we need 1 tablespoon of butter. Plop that right in there. 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. I had to go to the store and replenish all of my groceries. That's what happens when you take some time off. Okay, 1 tablespoon. Balsamic vinegar. Yep, smells like vinegar. And just a pinch of salt. And a pinch of cayenne, just to give it that little bit of kick. Okay, and then we're just going to simmer that until it all dissolves. The solids become a nice little glaze. So we'll go ahead and get that simmering. And when the turkey gets, the internal temp gets to about 165, 140 internal, and then we'll glaze it again at about 155, 165, and then one more final glazing right at the end. So we're going to go ahead and get this simmering, and we'll be back in a minute. Our turkey's up to about 135, and we're going to go ahead and put a glaze on it here. Just keep it kind of moist. Get it on that other leg over there. Don't want anything drying out. Okay, so we'll let that continue, and we'll check back in about 145, 150. Okay, our turkey is still smoking. It's getting close. We're going to go ahead and make a blackberry smoked old-fashioned. Got a little bit of our Blackberry Crown left, and we have our cocktail smoker. So we're going to go ahead and take our 3 ice stones. I like the ice stones because they don't melt like ice does. So, and then we're going to add 2 ounces of our Blackberry Crown Royal, which is pretty much going to kill the bottle. Yep, almost. Oh, it's exactly. Wow. So it'll be a little bit of a short pour, but that's okay. All right. And then we need a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. And we need a couple dashes of Angostura bitters, aromatic bitters. Just a couple dashes. And then we're going to use pear wood to smoke this. And just going to use this again and put our little tiny pear wood chips into the screen here. Try not to get wood everywhere. There we go. And then we light our wood, get it burning good and proper. And then just cover that up. I don't think it's quite going yet. I need to get that going a little more here. There we go. And then we'll just let that smoke for a minute or two. I love Blackberry Crown. Discovered that here not too long ago, and boy, I really love it. Just on the rocks or with a little bit of 7-Up or in as an old fashioned. But I'm just going to let that, you can kind of see that. I think you can. Nice smoke in there. Let that infuse in the cocktail. This is going to be a nice cocktail to go with that smoked turkey. Just let that smoke for, I don't know, about a minute or two. Let it infuse. All right, it's been about 3 minutes. And let's go ahead and give this a try. It's got that little bit of a smoke aroma to it. And then that blackberry kind of comes through on there. But let's have a little taste here. Oh boy. Oh wow. That's delicious. Just a very slight hint of the smoke flavor, but the blackberry crown really comes out nicely. So beautiful, smooth drink. So we're going to set that aside. Let me have one more taste there. Wow, that's good. That's going to go great with the turkey. We'll go get that and bring that in, and we'll move on. All right. Does that look awesome or what? Oh boy. Smells wonderful. All right. Looks great. Smells great. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to let this rest for about 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to tent it with some foil loosely and let it just kind of sit and meld in its juices, and that'll help tenderize it a little more. So let's just get a couple of sheets of foil here. Just want to tent it kind of loosely. If you tent it too tight, it builds up condensation and that softens the skin. I like to have that crispy skin. So I'm just going to loosely tint it, give it about 15 minutes, and we'll be back. All right, we got it untented and we got it plattered up here. We got our Whiskey-Brined Blackberry Crown Smoked Turkey, and we have our Blackberry Smoked Old Fashioned, and we are ready to cut into this. So, all right, let's get cutting into this. We'll cut a piece off of the breast here, my favorite part. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. It is tender and juicy looking. Oh boy. That is going to be fabulous. It's just so tender and juicy. Cut through. Look up. Can't wait to get a bite of that. Let's just get a piece cut off in the corner here. It's so tender I can just tear it off. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. That is delicious. That is totally awesome. Got a good smoke flavor. I like the sage and the thyme flavor coming through on that seasoning, and just a slight hint of the blackberry coming through too. Speaking of blackberry, let's try a drink of our Blackberry Crown Old Fashioned. Oh That is awesome. That is totally awesome. Well, that about does it for our Thanksgiving smoked turkey, our Whiskey-Brined Blackberry Crown smoked turkey, and our Blackberry Crown smoked old fashioned. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, and glad to have you back. Glad to be here. And as always, Prost.